everybody. We're gonna give this the old slice and dice extraordinaire special. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Hope you're having an extremely good day today. I wanted to walk you through what I'm going to be embarking on here, which is ultimately to have my loose skin taken care of with surgical intervention, buddy, because this is something that I've wanted to do for 15 years. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you the backstory, how I lost 70 pounds in about 5 to 6 months, why I waited 15 years to get this done, why now is the moment, what kind of led me to this decision, because it sounds crazy for a guy to get this taken care of, especially with a problem like mine. It's not super severe. How I made the choice that I made, and ultimately, where do we go from here? All right, so if you want to skip to a certain part in the video, please feel free to do that. I'll put notes down below about where in the video. Right now, we're going to talk about why I ultimately chose to even do this thing. First, I want to give you a little bit of background, right? I did lose 70 pounds when I was about 16 years old, more or less. That was an interesting time in my life, and if you want to know how I did it, why I did it, what was all the story behind that, I'd love to make that video. I'd love to finally tell that story. It's something that I've held near and dear to my heart. But since that time, since I was about 17 years old, 16, I have been kind of obsessed with fitness in a way. I have always wanted to not only look good, but I wanted to feel good. You know, I saw that I was going down a bad path in contrast to my brother, who was 6'5", extremely athletic, without having to do anything, just genetically gifted with a six-pack and everything. And I wanted to look good, I wanted to feel good, but more importantly, I saw that it was a very unhealthy route for me. And since that moment, I have contested with my own weight, with my own skin, you know, and it is something that has occupied my mind legitimately for the past 15 years. It has been something that has been a huge source of insecurity for me as long as I can remember. It has been a reason why I have not gone all in on things like dating, on things like going after things in career. And this is where it kind of ties into my usual viewers of the channel when it comes to hair system stuff, you know, and talking about building better men. I literally have held myself back over and over and over because of how I have felt about my body. And I will show you, you know, my before stuff. I'll show you the picture, but I am fully aware that I do also have some body dysmorphia, some pretty intense body dysmorphia, that what you see when you look at my body and what I see when I look at my body are completely different things. And this is a very common thing for someone that has lost a huge amount of weight, that has seen their body look a different way, and to not be, well, I guess, happy with it. Some of this is psychological, and I have learned to accept myself, but ultimately I'll bring you to the point why I made the decision. I had ultimately what kind of has started this, right, is that about a year ago I decided to go fully nomadic, do a little, I don't even like to call it digital nomading, but I guess that's what I'm doing, be a digital nomad. And on that process, I have lost an additional 25 pounds from where I started. I was already in great shape. I was competing in CrossFit. I was about 215 pounds at that time. And it looked pretty good. But I wanted to give it one final go. You know, I have never been happy with my body. I have never been confident with taking my shirt off. And we'll get into those things a little bit later. But I wanted to give it a final go. I was like, you know, I really want to try to lock in this nutrition thing. I already know a lot about nutrition. I know a lot about lifting weight, but I'm going to give it a go. So guess what? I hired a coach to help me with this. And I did spend a sizable amount of money to help me with my nutrition, so that way I would get down into single-digit body fat. Well, guess what? I worked with him for 2.5 months, 3 months, and didn't really get much of anywhere. I lost about 5 pounds and just stabilized. And this was with counting calories, this was with macronutrients, all this kind of stuff, and nothing seemed to work. I actually spent a lot of money, because I spent a lot of money on supplements too, to help me get where I needed to go. Maybe I was deficient, maybe that's why my body wasn't working right and I wasn't losing the weight. spent a lot of money. I spent a couple, I spent a couple $1,000s on skin tightening stuff, which it has helped. It has helped somewhat, but not to the degree that I need to. I have spent a lot of money, and even more so, a lot of time and a lot of, I don't want to say heartache because that's so dramatic, but I have spent a lot of effort. And also, even like down to starving myself, kind of, to try to get where I want to go. And what I mean by this is, over the past probably 4 to 5 months, I started working with another coach to give it one last try because I just stalled out. I lost about 10 pounds while I was traveling. When I was in Bali, I would do, fast for 2-day fast, and then I would do a 2-day fast, I would eat. I got down about 10 pounds, so I was about 205. And I stabilized there until I went to Mexico back in December, which I met somebody else also in great shape, also had like a weight loss and kind of fitness business. And, I told him my goals, and he said, like, let's just give it a try. So I said, you know what, let's do it. And with him, I've gotten down to about 190 pounds. And I stayed around there. I've stayed 190 to 195 for probably about 4 to 5 months, which has been awesome. It's lower than I've been in my adult life. I was hovering mostly around like 200 to 215 throughout my adult life. So that was awesome. But the problem remained. And no matter what I did, I could not really break that 188 was the lowest. I got 188 to 190 range. And I'm talking about not eating for a day and then eating a meal. I'm talking about consistently only one meal per day. I'm talking about very restrictive stuff. And just none of it would really like solve the problem. So I've tried a lot of things is what I'm getting to. Now, what was the moment of no return? What was the moment that I decided to actually do this thing? So I was sitting in the car with my friend Chris. We were taking a trip here in Colombia, and we were talking about our ethics. We were talking about how do we become better men, but also not just like good men, but dangerous men. This whole concept that Jordan Peterson has around being dangerous really kind of interested me. It was something that was curious because I've been afraid of being dangerous or being like, we'll get into this, but I've always wanted to be a good guy. I've always wanted to help people. I never wanted to be dangerous or hurt anybody or anything like that. And it's really been hitting me lately how it's not that I've even wanted to be a good guy, it's that I've wanted to be a good boy. Like I've wanted to get other people's attention and approval and all these things. And I've realized that that's just the wrong way to approach life. And I want to be a good man, but the only way is to first find my values and find the things that are holding me back and kind of seek and destroy it. And that brings me to this point. What I've kind of adopted as a new philosophy in life is 2 things. When it comes to what you want in life or what you want to have or how you want to be, you have 2 choices. You can, and this is kind of stoic right here, philosophy, which is you either do something about it or you decide to accept it and let it go. That you choose to kind of let the importance of it decrease. So you can either let it go, or you can choose to attack it with everything that you have and change it, right? So this is the power to change the things that you can change, and also the wisdom to know when you can't and to accept it, right? And this is something that I've had to let certain things go in my life. I've also had to face certain things head on. I'm in a season of heading forward into the things that I'm afraid of and just addressing them. And this is one of those things that I took an analysis. I did an analysis of how much time I have spent over the past 15 years thinking about my body, my stomach, my loose skin, how much I've let it affect me. And I'm talking about affect the way that I interact with people, how my self-esteem is, how I interact with my shirt off, like just all of these things, as well as all of the time I've looked in the mirror and all this negative self-talk that I've had because of this one thing. And I'm like, what am I doing? If I literally just put all that time that I've thought about myself negatively and actually put it towards something productive, whether that be improving my social skills or my business skills or sales, whatever it is, I would have made so much more money than I ever would have spent on this. And I had to come face to face with that. And I decided, you know what? We're doing something about this. And it's not something that I could let go. I have found myself constantly trying to hide this part of me. Very much similar to when it came to my hair loss. Constantly trying to hide this part of me. Whether it was with my clothes or by not going to beaches. I hate the beach. Why do you think it is? Because I hate to see myself shirtless. It's silly, right? I'm like, why should I let something like that interfere with who I want to be, how I want to be, who I want to be around other people? No, I'm gonna do something about it, which has brought me to here. The next part of this video right here is going to talk about how much it costs, how much why I chose who I chose, and ultimately, my before and after videos, and then we're going to get into kind of my final thoughts for this video, okay? Let's kind of take a look at where my body is now, just so you can kind of see where things are. So I recorded this a little bit earlier, right? You can see right here that down here, although this is kind of getting in the way, that I have loose skin down here at the bottom, and that right there, as you can see, I'm playing with it. But this is just loose skin. This is not fat. And I consulted with the doctor, and there is a little bit of fat in this area. There's also there is fat in my back and sides, and these deposits, they can be very hard to lose. But more than that, that's just where things are right now. So with the loose skin on my sides, with the loose skin that's obviously on the front of my torso right here, number one, it bothers me a lot, like a lot. To be very honest with you, very insecure. So with that being said, the treatment protocol that he's put together, what he wants to do for me is to first, of course, do, you could say, a tummy tuck. Tummy tuck usually has a couple different components. Number one is you deal with the skin, you deal with the fat, you also deal with the muscle. And the reason that a lot of people need some muscle repair is because a lot of people have basically separated abdominal muscles because of the weight that they put on. For me, doctor said there's absolutely no need for that. My muscles are in very good shape, also because of the lifting that I've been doing, so those are well defined. So we're not going to touch that. That is the most, from what I've heard, most painful part of getting a tummy tuck, as opposed to the skin. I've talked to people, I've done research, the skin doesn't seem that bad, as well as I've talked with, they say it's actually similar, I don't know if this is true, similar to a C-section for women. And I talked with my mom about this, who had me through a C-section. And she said that C-section, like this cut through the lower abdominal to either remove skin or stitch it back together, is not that bad. My mom said she was walking in and out of town, doing things, within a week. And the consensus seems, I'll get into the recovery period, but it doesn't sound that bad. So number one, tummy tuck. Number two is to do some liposuction, yes, in the front to remove that fat, but also from my flanks on the side, to basically get rid of those fat deposits. I wasn't originally intending to do that, but since I'm going to go in and I'm going to be kind of bedridden for a couple days and not really working out maybe for a month or longer, let's go do it. Let's go do the thing. So that's going to happen. And then finally, there's something that exists called J Plasma or Renuvion, depending on who that you talk to. So Renuvion is a technology that uses controlled bursts of heat to underlying tissues using radio frequency energy powered by helium plasma. So if you take a look at some of this stuff right here, let's see if we can Renuvion. So what it essentially does is this helium, they use it underneath the skin, and this shortens these soft tissue pieces, and it draws the skin back in towards itself. And I wasn't sure how productive this would be, like if it would actually work, but it does look like there is some significant differences in the people in terms of the tightening of the skin. A lot of this is usually also mixed in with liposuction, so it's hard to say. But there is some skin laxity that he said back there, so he's going to do that on not only my flanks, but he said that he's going to throw in also doing it on my back, which is going to be great, although back's in pretty good shape. But I'm excited about that. So those are the 3 different things that we're going to do. We're going to do the basically tummy tuck without the muscle repair, or you could call it a lapidectomy, maybe. I don't know what the word is called, but we're going to basically remove skin. And we're going to go in, reuse some liposuction. We're also going to do the sides. And then he's going to apply the Renuvion J Plasma, which is, it looks like underneath the surface, to really help with that stuff. So the question is, how much does it all cost? Well, this is going to be in Colombian pesos, this 37 million Colombian pesos. And then that transfers the whole thing, including anesthetic, including all of the different fees, all 3 procedures, about $8,500. Inside of the US, if you look, average price for just tummy tuck is around $8,000 to $9,000. So basically, we're going to be getting all 3 things for the same cost, and also the treatment here in Medellin, which I'm going to get to, is amazing. So why Medellin? Well, Medellin, Colombia is actually, it's where I am, but it just so happens to be like one of the plastic surgery capitals of the world, and the quality of service here is really, really, really good. People know what they're doing, and if you saw the women here, you would be like, okay, yeah, that place, they do a good job. There's some amazing surgeons here. The way that I particularly chose my surgeon, Dr. John, is because I personally went through and I started to look at all of the different surgeons that were available inside of the area. And I found this guy who, personally, as I was looking through the work that he does, I thought it was particularly good. In terms of the aesthetic that he produced inside of his clients. Not anything extravagant, but instead things that seemed to be just really, really quality. And for me, that's important, right? I think it's important for everybody, but that's how I made the decision. So, the tummy tuck procedure, I started to look for people. This is 3 months out, I believe, from this guy getting his surgery, which, so 3 months out, it could look like this. People with white skin apparently have a much easier time with scars in terms of it kind of blending in, all that kind of fun stuff. And so this is what it was before, which, I would say that he had more severe skin issues than I, and looks very, very good right here. Although I would say that I have more of a muscular build than this gentleman. If we take a look right here, once again, he has that pooch, and significant change. Right here, significant change. So, what I did is I started to look at people that had this surgery and look for people that were as close to me as possible. And what I found is that the result can be extremely good if you're already really close. I would say, have the luxury of my skin laxity and skin issues. It's not horrible where it's just crazy bad. And that's actually been one of the things that's kept me back for a long time, is that it's not terrible. It's just annoying. It's just a insecurity that I have, and functionally it's not bothering me a ton, although I do feel it when I'm exercising and doing high plyometric things, because that skin bounces around a lot. But the truth is, it's purely aesthetic. It's purely aesthetic, and I know that going in. So I am feeling very confident about it. I'm feeling very, very confident about it, but I want to kind of leave you with this thought right here. So ultimately, that's how I made my decision. It's going to cost about $8,500 more or less here in Colombia, which is still on the pricier side, and I'm aware not everybody has that money. I also am aware that I have chosen who I believe to be the best for me, which is all we can do. Now, I've decided to also add it in, some liposuction, as well as something called Rejuvion, because what I've seen as far as the results in combination together is amazing. And if I'm going to do this, if if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. Now, the amount of time that I'm expecting for this to take to ultimately heal, there's a lot of ranges here. So number one, I've seen that, and my doctor kind of confirms this, is saying that, you'll probably be back to cardio activity within about 4 weeks. And within regular lifting in about 2 months. Like heavy lifting, that kind of stuff that I usually do. Now, that's a very long time, and I am kind of worried about the mental health aspect of that I'm going to face, because exercise is a huge part of my life. So I'm aware of it, and I've done the mental analysis that it's worth it, and I will be okay. I've seen reports that sometimes it is not that painful, because I'm not getting, some muscle reconstruction, so it's skin mostly. I've heard that liposuction is a little bit painful. But either way, as I'm moving forward with this, I don't know how long it's going to take. I've heard that full results can take, maybe 3 to 6 months in terms of the swelling to go down to minimal levels, but we'll see. I'm going to be going to Buenos Aires, and I've kind of dedicated the time there to studying Spanish a lot more, and to just kind of getting in touch with me. So it's going to be good. I'm scared, but as all things in life are, sometimes the most worth it things are painful or they're hard. But here's the big idea. Here's the big idea that I want to share with you. As men, right, we need to enjoy our lives, and we need to be confident. We need to know that we're here for more than just work, and that if we're going to show up as our best selves, we need to show up in whatever helps us be our best self. Now, for some men on this channel that have been watching me for a long time, guess what? That means that you have decided to take care of your hair loss. For other men on this channel, guess what? It means that you're changing the way that you interact with females. And this channel is all about building better men. This channel is all about us moving forward together in a way to holistically improve ourselves. Yes, our appearance, yes, our mind, yes, our spirit, yes, our body, everything. And for me, this is something that I need to do. So I'm tired of playing small. And there's some things that I can let go of, and there's some things that I am choosing to change. So, I'll be doing update videos as I go through this entire process, so that way you can see what it's like, the raw, honest truth of what it's like, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I can't wait. I can't wait, no matter what it brings. I'm excited. All right? Subscribe, like below. I'll catch you later.